You've got to love a brand new bike. This is the new Canyon Ultimate CF EVO disc. This bike is the latest in an evolution that started for Canyon all the way back in 2004 with a bike that was called the Project 3.7. The idea behind that project was to explore the boundaries of weight saving on a road bike. All the components were modified by hand to shave every single gram possible, and the result was one of the lightest bikes the world has ever seen, to this day in fact. The Project 3.7, as the name suggests, weighed just 3.7 kilograms. 2 years after that, the Canyon engineers had moved on to something different called the Project 6.8. Yes, you've guessed it, this bike weighed in at 6.8 kilograms, which even back in 2006 wasn't particularly revolutionary. There were plenty of bikes that were smack bang on the UCI minimum weight limit. However, there was a key difference with the Project 6.8, and that was that it used fully functional hydraulic disc brakes. And this new Ultimate CF EVO disc is, in effect, a combination of those two concept bikes from many years ago, in that it's an ultra-lightweight disc brake-equipped road bike. Some of Team Katusha's key members will be using this very bike in the mountainous stages of this year's Tour de France. Some of you will remember that a couple of years ago, Canyon released their Ultimate CF EVO 10.0 rim brake bike, which was frankly ridiculously light. That frame weighed in at 685 grams and the forks at 270 grams. In order to make that frame and forks so light, Canyon used a very special material indeed. So special, in fact, was this carbon fibre, they had to request access to it from the Japanese Defence Minister, Tomomi Inaga. But for this bike, things have developed even further than that. Canyon engineers have said that this is the most advanced carbon fibre layout that they have ever used. It's a combination of ultra-high modulus and ultra-high tension carbon, which makes this EVO perform as it does. That layup has resulted in a bike which Canyon claim will maintain its stiffness throughout its entire life cycle. Each one of these frame sets will be handcrafted by one of Canyon's top engineers, and it is only the top, most experienced experts that will be getting their hands onto these frame sets. The result is the fact that this frame set is even lighter than the previous rim brake version. You'll be wanting to know exactly how much it weighs, won't you? Well, I'm about to tell you. In a size medium, which is what we've got here with Rick Zabel's team bike, the frame weighs 641 grams and the forks weigh 285 grams. That means that this frame set in total tips the scales at 926 grams. Now that is ridiculously light for any frame set, let alone a disc-specific one with all the extra strength that you need around the chainstay, seat stay and front fork leg. Now, further to the super material that is used for the construction of the frame, Canyon have also shaved a few more grams off elsewhere. Those places include the front derailleur mount, which is integrated into the structure of the carbon fibre frame, and also here at the seat post clamp, where they are using titanium bolts as opposed to the steel ones that you'll find on the standard Ultimate CF SLX disc. Up at the front there, Rick is using the standard Canyon H11 aero cockpit, so bars and stem. 120 millimeters of the length of the stem and 410 millimeters are the width of the handlebars. However, there's a good reason it's the standard one and not the brand new one. This thing is so fresh, just out the box. Literally, the mechanics had just finished building it up before we started filming it. The handlebars haven't yet arrived. Apparently they'll be coming here in the next couple of days. Those new handlebars and stem are called the Evo Cockpit CP20, and it's the lightest integrated handlebar and stem that Canyon have ever made, 270 grams. And the reason for that is it uses the same carbon fibre wonder material as the frame and the forks, but they're still just as aero as these ones. This bike is also so fresh that the mechanics haven't even had a chance to put the proper Canyon graphics on the down tube yet, although I've been reliably informed that they will have done that by the time Rick needs to use this bike. So if you add everything up, the weight of the frame, the forks and the new arriving aero cockpit, the Evo Cockpit CP20, this is 235 grams lighter than the standard Ultimate CF SLX disc. It's certainly minimalist when it comes to weight, but also actually when it comes to graphics, which are particularly subtle. I'm a fan of that, I've got to say. Now, despite the fact that this frame set is incredibly lightweight, it is not fragile. It has a higher stiffness to weight ratio than the standard Ultimate, and Canyon have been at pains to tell me that this is not a bike you need to confine to the smoothest of tarmac roads. It's a bike which you can ride on all roads, including the cobbles of Belgium, where we are now. Let's move on to what's on this new frame set, shall we? Well, the group set is provided by SRAM. It is their flagship red axis group set, which, as you know, is wireless, and as you also know, is 12 speed. The cassette that Rick currently has here at the rear is 10 up through to 28, whilst the double chainrings there at the front are 37 by 50. As some of you will remember from our first look at this group set some time ago, SRAM spent a lot of time developing their Centerline X rotor system here. Their 160mm rotor there on the front and 140mm here at the rear. And that is a suitably lightweight group set for a very light frame set. In total, it comes in at 2,518 grams. Moving on to the wheels. I'm sure you'll all recognise them. They're a very distinct looking Zip 454 NSWs, distinct because of this design around the rim. The reason for this design is to enable the wheels to still be incredibly aerodynamic, but easier to handle when you're navigating your bike through crosswinds. 454 is on here at the moment, but I have no doubt that once they get into the mountains, he might opt for something a little bit lighter. On those wheels, we have Continental's Competition Pro Limited 25mm tubular tyres, which are ever popular amongst the riders in the pro peloton. I always forget the free hub sound test, so I'm going to do it right here at the beginning. You can insert it randomly into the video. And I think all that leaves me to talk about is the pedals, which are the Look Keo Blade carbons, the bottle cages that are provided by Tax, they are carbon fibre, and finally the saddle. It's a Cellitalia Team Edition, is all I can see it says there. Looks particularly heavy to me. We'll weigh the bike in just a few moments' time. But one thing that is one of my favourite parts of the bike is the custom Wahoo Element bolt, which I've just taken off the handlebars there in Team Katusha colours. I like that. The moment of truth, here we go. 6.88 kilograms. So this bike is coming in at 80 grams over the UCI's current minimum weight limit. And there's very good reason for that. Mechanics are very nervous about a discrepancy between their scales and those that the UCI use to check these bikes. They tend to put a little bit more weight on than just going up to 6.8. But that's probably why he's got slightly heavier, deeper section wheels on this climbing bike, and maybe even that saddle too. However, this bike can be built up to be much lighter, and it will be built up to be much lighter when our very own Si Richardson rides one down in the Alps over the next couple of weeks. That is a video I'm very much looking forward to. Right, final few measurements for you. I've just been measuring his saddle height. It is 79 centimetres from the centre of the bottom bracket here to this part of the saddle, and the reach from the tip of the saddle to the centre of the bars there at the front is coming in at 57 centimetres. Well, I think that is a class-looking new frame set. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. You can leave them in the comment section just down below. And if you can't get enough of your tech at the tour, this is the place to be. You can find more content just over there. It's very high pitch. It goes from very high pitch to low pitch, doesn't it? See why people like it.